So I'm in a bit early. Oops. What is the date today? 18th. Hi, Rhonda. Can you hear me okay? Hi, Dawn. Oh, you can hear me? Perfect. Now, you guys aren't sewing along with me today, correct? We have, hi, Barbara. You'll just be watching today? Okay, we have a lot to get through today. Man, my floor is dirty back there. Oh well. Sound is good. Perfect. Rhonda, are you sewing with us today? Hi, Diane. Welcome home. I hope you had a safe trip home. How was everybody's week? Did we all recover from our pockets fiasco last week? Oh, I'm going to quickly just go give this a press. Be right back. You're sewing along today, Rhonda? Perfect. We have a lot to get through today. A lot. So we will be going at a fairly good pace. Hopefully with no mistakes. Awesome. So the goal today is to get the front and back panels done and the side panels done. And that would leave homework to be to put foam on our main panels and to do our lining pockets, whichever way you want to do the pockets. That's what I'm hopeful for. Hi, Annie. How are you? Are you sewing along with us today? Oops. So this is a bag. I mean, there's all, it's pretty involved. So yeah, we will be moving at a fairly quick pace today. So if I am going too fast, you will need to let me know to slow down or ask questions or what have you. For the side panels, we'll do one together and then another side panel will be for homework. Okay, Annie's sewing along and Rhonda's sewing along. Awesome. Hey, I'm about halfway through the Celia tutorial. I'm hopeful to get that done and up tomorrow. Oh, of course, last minute sews are the best. I actually have a client who, I've got 2 fun bobbies on order, thank goodness, because the one I was going to do a fun bobby tutorial with, it was a rush order. I didn't have room, but she's a client that has just spent so much every year that I won't say no to her. So she wanted me to send it out for May 1st. And then I guess the baby came early and now she wants me to send it out by Friday. So that one I will not be doing a tutorial on hers. I just got to power through it. But this weekend I do have another fun bobby, so I will be using that one for a different order to do the tutorial. So I'm just thankful we had 2 because tutorials take me 3 days to make. We're making the Fun Bobby backpack will take me about 6 hours probably. So I just got to power through that on Thursday or Friday. Yeah. Good time. So we are going to start promptly at 4 o'clock. So hopefully everybody pops in a little bit early. If you want to get prepared and have our zipper pocket pieces ready to go, as well as our front slip pocket pieces, that's what we're going to be working on first today. Oh, we miss you too, Rhonda. . life gets so busy sometimes, and I'm just glad everybody can pop back in and say hi and be part of the community again. So that's great. Dawn is super excited about the Selah tutorial. It may have been Dawn that asked me to do that one, so I'm working on it. Do you guys want a sneak peek of my Selah? I only got the main panels done in the tutorial so far. Ignore my funny pants. I'm dressed for comfort today. So these are my front and back panels for my Selah so far. Isn't that pretty? Using the Luxes from Galaxy Customs, of course, but how gorgeous. Look at my edge painting. Can you see the shine from the edge paint? I love edge paint. Yeah, so that's the tutorial I'm working on for release this weekend. So hopefully I get it done. I did not get a tutorial up this past weekend. It's just yeah. You keep checking every day for the Selah, Diane? It will be up on Saturday. And so far it's pretty easy. So yeah, I'm surprised it hasn't been voted in for a class yet. It's made the polls a couple times, but still nothing. So Barbara, I do have a class on my channel for edge painting, so make sure you check it out. It does take practice, but honestly, edge painting is one of my most favorite things to do. It's so relaxing. I just turn on my tunes and I sing along and I do it. Kind of because it takes 20 minutes to dry in between layers. And I usually do 3 layers of base, 1 layer of color, 1 layer of a protecting either matte or gloss coat. So I usually have my edge painting going at the same time as I'm working on something else. So I will have the edge paint for the next bag I'm making while I'm doing one. So yeah, Barbara, that Selah is 100 times easier than this Trailblazer. It is newbie busy. It is, or not busy, easy. It is so easy. So yeah, so you'll see the tutorial and maybe we'll end up having a class on it one day. We will see, but it's got to get voted in. So yes, the June class polls are on the YouTube side for voting, so make sure you go and vote for which one you will want for June. And then there will be no polls for July because July is the month that I take off, July and December, but there will be pre-recorded classes on the Tuesdays and Thursdays still. The only difference is they're teacher's choice, so I have to come up with which ones I want to be teaching for the Tuesday and the Thursday classes. I think I know one of them is going to be a great surprise, I hope. I'm just hoping I can pull it off. So I'll be pre-recording those classes in June, and then they will be releasing on their appropriate days on Tuesdays and Thursdays through the month of July. I just won't be live. I will still be available to answer questions or what have you, but I won't be live in the classes because I'm going to be camping most Thursdays, to be honest, and I have a lot of travel through the month of July, and I just really need some downtime as well. So June is going to be busy getting all that up, but there will be classes. They'll just be pre-recorded classes. Oh yes, Diane, I did not forget about you. I know you emailed me asking for some pointers. I haven't forgotten. Remind me tomorrow, because yeah, I did forget. Yeah. Yay. All right. Okay, so sewing along with me, I have Annie and Rhonda, and others are watching and sewing it up afterwards. Is that right? Is there anybody else that's sewing along? Don't be nervous, Diane. Honestly, when I go into a market, sometimes I will hardly sell anything. My goal is always just to make my table back and to hand out cards, especially for custom orders. So usually in a slow market, I may only sell 1 or 2 bags, but you got to remember my bags are anywhere from $175 to $200, which is sometimes pretty high for a craft market, but selling 1 or 2 is a win, especially if your table's only $20 table. I mean, you've made your money back there. I would recommend having maybe some smaller items, even if they're just like little zipper pouches or whatever. Get your scraps out, make some zipper pouches that you can price between the $20 and $40 price point. People love the $20 and $40 price point. So if you can have your high-end bags there, which you're selling, of course, well over $100, I hope. And then you have just some little things like coin purses are nothing to throw together, and people just love to buy them, and then they get a chance to see the quality of your craftsmanship. And they take a business card, and then they may be inclined to contact you to either custom order a bag or to buy a bag that you already have. So excellent, Diane. So you should be good. So yes, just go in saying you want to get your table feedback. That is the ultimate goal. That's what I always go in with. And if I sell a bag, I am like doing the happy dance, and yeah. But if you have some of the miniature, like the smaller, lower price things, that's getting your name out there. It's getting your cards out there, and it's getting people to see how good your work is. And sometimes they just need a little bit of something to be able to test out, to see how amazing you are, and then they will be contacting you to buy a bag guaranteed. That's how I started out, and I said I do this full time now. Yeah. Yep. Hi, Karen. Karen, are you sewing along with us today? Yes, and Diane, do take photos as well. Karen's in there. Karen. I'm assuming Karen's sewing along because she was sewing along with us last week. Kim, I would think, would be, but she's not here yet. She's probably at work. And Elba sewed with us last time. So we are actually going to hop right in because we have so much to get going. So I'm going to go through. If I end up going too fast, please do stop me. We have a lot to get through today, and I want to just make sure that we do it. Okay, Karen's just watching today. Okay. So yes, please do stop me if there are any questions, or if you need me to take a moment to slow down. But yeah, we have so much to get through. So shall we get started? Let me just put this aside and let me put us to table down. All right, so if we all remember last week, the fiasco of this zipper pocket. So let's get her done, hey? I will make sure I am reading the instructions a little clearly, or a little more closely, so I do not make the same mistake I did last time. All right. Coco says hi. She is getting fed right now, so they may be a little noisy, but both boys are home, so hopefully it won't be too crazy with the dogs. Okay, so last week we got to this point. So we have our flap there, exterior flap, we have our zipper on, and we have attached our lining and done our top stitching like this. So now what we're going to do is we're going to flip this over to the wrong side, and you are going to take this lining piece, and we are going to make sure it's nice and even. And we are going to clip it, we're just lining it up, just like so, along the top of the zipper. So we've kind of folded it up like this and lining it up right up against that zipper. And then all we have to do with that is to baste that in place. So I'm just going to go ahead, clip this, and then we'll baste that in place with just an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance along that top section. Okay, so let me flip it down. Oops. Hopefully my sound stays good. Oh, there's... All right. See how my camera angles are here. I must have bumped it. Let me fix that. There we go. All right. So again, just basting this on with an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance all the way across. I don't have my zipper foot on right now. We don't need it just yet. We will in a little bit maybe. I don't remember. We'll see when we get there. Okay, and then while we're here, we're just going to flip this up, and I'm going to close up these sides of the linings. Making sure not to get your exterior here, you just want to get that. I'm just going right where the zipper is. I'm closing that up. And same with the other side. Just up to the zipper. All right. So this is what we have. You can see I didn't, when I stitched up the sides, I didn't go all the way to the top. I guess it could have made it easier if I didn't top stitch right through this part, but I went ahead and I did that anyways. As long as you get into that zipper, so our zipper works, and it does. Just like so. And then we can trim up this zipper tape. Actually, that's where I didn't want to go all the way to the side, so I'm just going to do some of that base there. Because I forgot I cut my zipper too long. So just I'm doing some of that base so I can pull it apart. Because we want to trim this zipper back nice and even with our lining piece. So. And like so. Perfect. All right, so now we have a working zipper pocket. You want to make sure everything is kind of out of the way of our seam allowance. So I'm just going to kind of take these corners and trim them up. So on these curves, I'm not going to be catching them, just to help reduce that bulk. And then next what we're going to do is we're going to take our lining piece that has the 2 magnetic snaps, and we are going to put these right sides together. And clip it in place all the way around. Again, please do stop me if I move too fast. Don't have to worry about clipping this top. That's going to be where we're going to turn this. So it's just our lining and our exterior. You'll see your pocket hanging out on the back. Right sides together. Thank you, Dawn. Thank you for the, I never know what my seam allowance is. I can tell you right now the Selah seam allowance is 1/4 of an inch because that's what I've been working with all day. I wish all patterns were just 3/8 and then we never would have to worry about it, right? Okay, so then what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and we are going to sew all the way around here with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. All right. How's the camera views? Are they okay? Everybody can see everything okay? You want to make sure you take your curves nice and slow because that is going to be the shape of this flap. And it's right front and center of the bag, so you want to make sure it looks good. Ooh. Perfect. Hi, Anna. so I'll give everybody a minute or so to get there. So this is what it looks like so far. We have, see, we're outside of our seam allowance, so this will be hanging out perfectly, this thing here. That's what that side looks like. Makes sense so far. Everything's good. Okay, and now I'm going to take my pinking shears and I am going to trim around mainly the curves of the pouch. And then we can turn this right side out. Okay. So make sure you press out all of those curves. Actually, mine turned out pretty good. Thank you. Thank you, Tiffany, for making my sewing good today. Make up for last week. Okay. I'm just going to poke out a little bit on this side. Okay, and then I'm going to use just some clips to kind of, I'm just finger pressing on my seam to prepare it for top stitching. Because I can't press it because this is vinyl. Oops. And then we can also clip along the top because we are going to baste that shut. Okay, so we are going to baste across the zipper again with 1/8 of an inch and top stitch all the way around with 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. I'm just going to double check my tension. How's everybody doing? Is it an okay pace? My tension's good. And the reason I'm checking my tension on both sides is because both sides are going to show on the flap. We start it in the middle of the zipper where we're basting the lining to it, and then top stitching down the other 3 sides. Double check my tension, looks good. Corner of my pocket I'm feeling there. That's okay. I'm going to sew through it a little bit. All right. It's good? Perfect. said, the way I'm sewing right now is the pace I usually sew at. Well, I might go a little bit faster because I don't have to explain to myself what I'm doing. So that is that pocket done. I'm happy that my zipper is nice and straight. You can double check to open it up that your pocket is sealed, and it is. While I'm here, I'm going to also go ahead, and I'm not going to snip it, but I'm going to mark my center. So I'm just going to fold this in half, and along the raw edge of the zipper, just make a mark because we will need that later. Make sure it's nice and centered. Okay. So all the headache from last week is done. That is done, and we have her done correctly. Thank goodness. Okay, so next, now in the pattern, it says to install our female snaps first. I don't do that just yet because whenever I use the markings in a pattern for my female snaps, they never line up. So we're going to just go a little bit rogue from that, and we are going to install our female snaps in a future step. So just stick with me. You will see what I mean. So what we want to do is you want to grab your front pocket pieces. So it's the front slip pocket pieces. So this pattern piece here, you need that in your lining. This thing we will put aside for now. We will be dealing with this momentarily. All right. So what we want to do is we want to take our front. I'm doing my trick. You guys, that is such a great trick. Thank you, thank you, thank you for teaching me the trick. Thank you for the snap. She thought it was just me. Barbara, it's not just you. It's me with every single time with the magnetic snap. So I'm going to show you guys what works for me. We did it with the itty bitty bowler. It's just a way to guarantee that the snaps will line up, because I don't know what I do for when I use the markings in patterns to line up those snaps. It just never, there's always slightly off. So I just found a way that works for me. I'm hoping it'll work for you guys. I think it will, so it'll be good. Okay, so we want to take our, I want to make sure I have my right side up because I fussy cut this. Okay, so this is my top. We want to take our slip pocket exterior and our slip pocket lining and put them right sides together. And clip them across the top. Definitely not just you, Barbara, though. It's me, and I've been making bags for 4 years, and I still have that problem. I just realized I don't have my wedding rings on. I feel naked. 3/8. Thank you, Dawn. I was just about to look up my seam allowance. So we're going to sew across just this top part with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay. So flip on over. Whew. Wearing a sweatshirt, I am warm. Holy moly. 3/8. And sew across. Like so. And then while I'm at the machine, rather than hopping back to the table, because I think you can see what I'm doing here, we are going to go ahead and we are going to press these wrong sides together. You can definitely go ahead and iron this if you wanted to, but I don't iron cork. So I'm just going to roll those seams along that top edge we just sewn and hold it in place with some clips to prepare it for top stitching. But do not baste the other 3 sides just yet. The pattern says to baste all the raw sides together, but we're not doing that just yet because we still have to install our magnetic snaps. This is just me finger pressing because I'm using the cork. And make sure it's nice and tight. I'm double checking to make sure my cork isn't cracking too, but this is Cork Supply, and their cork usually doesn't crack. It's usually pretty good. Okay, and now we're just going to top stitch right along that top with 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Just like that. And now we can go back to the table. All right, everybody still with me? Okay, I'll give everybody a couple minutes there because I'm going to need you to watch what I'm doing next. For the magnetic snaps. That, and I'm going to need this. And a marking pen. This one will probably work the best. Give everybody about a minute or so. Class is already going so much better than last week. Okay, one more minute. One inch from raw edge. I'm trying to see what you're talking about there, Dawn. Oh, I see. I can see my lining is a little off kilter here because of my cutting, so I'm just going to even that up. Hello, Riley. My son is home. He just got home. Brady's been home all day. Okay. Next, what we want to do is of our, what is this called? This is called our exterior bottom panel. So you definitely want to make sure you have it situated the right way. I'm going to go ahead and find my top and bottom centers of this. Fold it in half and make a snip. Make a snip. I'm going to double check that I am definitely centered, just using my board here. And I am. Okay. Now this is just kind of a mock-up for the placement of our magnetic snaps. So we're going to take this pocket piece. That's where Dawn was saying this should be approximately, it should line up with this and be about 1 inch from the top. If it's not 1 inch from the top, it's not going to be the end of the world either. But look, I'm exactly 1 inch, so we're good. Now what we're going to do is just clip this in place for now. Okay. We're not doing any sewing. I'm just kind of preparing to be able to do my marks for my magnetic snaps. So we're just kind of putting this on where it will be going for now. Just a few clips to hold it in place. And then next what we're going to do is we're going to take our flap, and that center mark that we marked, we're going to mark it, match it up with that center snip, line it up, and just kind of put some clips in place. So this is what this is going to look like once it's all sewn. Okay, and this is my trick for magnetic snaps. So fine, I'm just going to use my sew line pen here, And on the little nubbins, I know Dawn's gonna laugh because I said nubbins, I'm going to saturate these in ink. So just put tons and tons of ink on it. Just on those little nubbins. Again, this ink will disappear. And the reason I'm doing that, you can use chalk too if it will go, is when I let this just go where it naturally wants to go, I'm going to press on those magnetic snaps, and where that ink is, can you see it? It's left a dot there and a dot there, and that is where I'm going to install the female side of my snaps. You see that? Can you see those? I know it's really hard to see in my fabric. There's one there. And they line up perfectly because we use the little nubbins to do our marks for us. So now we can take this all apart because we have our marks there. Now it's like an extra step, but really it's so much better that you know that you're going to line up okay. So we're going to go install our female snaps, but what you want to make sure is that you flip that lining out of the way, because you do not want to install any kind of thing through the lining. You just want to do it through the exterior. Ink on the nubbins, that's what you did too, Barbara? It's a handy trick. It's definitely the way to go. It's how I do it every time. So yes, go ahead, use those marks to install your magnetic snaps. So again, that little dot I'm putting into the center of the washer and putting my lines for my prongs. I will also back these with some scraps of Decibel Heavy. Where are my scraps? Here we go. I always have a bin of just scraps. I don't waste any Decibel Heavy, that's for sure. This one. Whew. I'm warm. It's funny because I was cold all day long. Hormones, I tell ya. You guys are going to be calling it nubbins for a long time now, just because I called it that. I know it. All right. So go ahead and install yours, depending if you have the rivet kind or if you have the prong kind like me. Again, just cutting through the exterior fabric, not the lining fabric. This one. Other side. Nubbins mean rabbit poop in Saskatchewanese, really? That's funny. I have cousins in Saskatchewan. I'll have to ask them that. Then again, they're from BC, so they just moved there a few years back. Just at the beginning of COVID, they moved onto a farm in Saskatchewan. Oops, I forgot my washer. Back up, Brandy, back up. Where's my washer? Ooh, look what I did. Did it backwards. This, then the washer. How's everybody doing that's sewing with me? Are we keeping up? Everything's good? I always hit them with my mallet and then put some duct tape on the back of the prongs. There we go. And this should snap into place perfectly. And they do. I'm a happy girl. I call hoodies bunny hugs. I'll call them hoodies or bunny hugs. I love my bunny hugs. This is what this one is. Hoodies, I find, are the zip down ones, and I think bunny hugs are like what I'm wearing right now, that are just like a sweatshirt with pockets and a hoodie, right? It's good, Rhonda? Perfect. Okay, So I already have my thing snapped in place. I'm going to take my back panel again here. I'm going to put this back on top. I'm just making sure everything lines up, and go ahead and clip everything in place again. Everything should line up perfectly. Okay, and then we can clip down the sides because now we can baste all of these sides together. Easy peasy, right? I can see that my lining is too big, so I'm just trimming it up to match the rest of it so it doesn't peek through. There we go. Okay, so we're going to baste across this top here so that stays in place, and then baste around the pocket sides here. Do I have my pocket going the right way? I still do, yes. Good. Okay. So baste this pocket in place first. In, and then the three sides of that slip pocket, just with 1/8 of an inch. I might have to go back in. I think I have an uneven piece. We will see. Ooh, I haven't worked with cork in so long. It feels so nice. Okay. Trailblazer is a little bit more time consuming, mainly because there's so many pieces and so many pockets. But you do end up getting really fast at it. Trust me. If you don't make mistakes, like I did last week. Should be good though, so. All right. So this is where we're at. So we have our operating zipper pocket here. And now we should have an operating a slip pocket here, which we do, and our snaps match, which is what we want. And then, what do we want to do? Ah, yes. Okay. So give everybody another minute or so. Let me know when you're ready to go. We'll start up in a minute or so, that is. Making really good time. Said the Trailblazer, the only tough part of the Trailblazer I find, as long as you put the zipper on the right way with this, is that top zipper. Because it can be really wavy if you aren't using a zipper foot or having an even seam allowance. But that'll be next week. We will get to that. Thanks, Dawn. 3/8. Okay, so next what we want to do is we want to take our middle panel here. So this was the one that I fussy cut. So you can see it's fussy cut with this flower down here. We want to find our top and bottom centers of this. And put in some small snips, I mean. Ow, I pinched my finger. There we go. And then we want to take this and we want to put it right sides together along that top raw edge So we're adding it in where that zipper was, where we have it all basted. Which zipper? The very top zipper, Barbara? Or are you talking this zipper here? Said honestly, you will have much better luck having a non-wavy zipper if you have a zipper foot. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to sew across there with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Come on, camera, click on. There we go. So I am going to change into, which zipper do I want? My right zipper foot here, because we want to get nice and close to that zipper.
I'm still not sure about that.
Ooh, my watch is talking to me. So a zipper foot helps get nice and close to the teeth, and that helps maintain a nice straight zipper as well, because you're getting a nice and even seam allowance, not fighting the zipper teeth or the zipper pull or anything like that. How is my sound at the machine today? Is it good? Dawn, I'm going to show you how to make it so your top zipper doesn't get stuck. Did you cut the foam? Well, we'll get there, because I'm going to show you how to cut the foam out of the seam allowances for that. Okay, so 3/8 of an inch, but that'll be next week, not this week. All the way across with 3/8 of an inch, keeping it as straight as you can. Okay, and then while we're at the machine, we're going to do our top stitch at the same time. So we want to make sure that the seam is pointing upwards. You're just going to take your exterior and finger press it up like so, so that seam is pointing towards the top, and then we're going to top stitch that seam in place. Okay, just pull it nice and taut. Make sure the seam's going the correct way. And top stitch across. Just like so. All right, my files that tidbit. Again, we almost need to find, just going back to Dawn's comment there, 1/4 of an inch. You may find you end up having a wavy zipper. You like to be closer to 3/8, so I like to actually do it at a scant 3/8, so something in the middle. But I'm going to show you how to cut some of the bulk out of those seams next week with the foam, and it's the bulk of the foam that gets that zipper stuck on the top. Dawn's talking about right in these areas here. I mean, my zipper doesn't stick, but this isn't quite 1/4 of an inch, but it's not quite a 3/8 of an inch either, but right here is where it gets thick. But I'm going to show you how to avoid that. I hope, if all goes well. Works for me anyway. So okay, so this is it. Doesn't she look pretty? Now you can see how, well, I guess this kind of hides it, but my flower, see how my fussy cutting carries on up to where it was. So we got that pocket good, magnetic snaps, and our slip pocket. Okay, so next we want to grab this little thing that we worked on last time. Make sure it's the one with the 2 and not the one with the 1 in the middle, because this is our front panel. So what we want to do with this is we want to take this and we want to put it right sides together. Maybe if Dawn can check my seam allowance, I believe it's 3/8 still. Put it right sides together. Make sure our little our hardware staying out of the way. Match up that center. Clip it in place. See, it goes together quite fast once you get that front pocket done. Thank you, Dawn. Okay, and now we're going to sew across there with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Everybody's doing good so far? So at this point, I'm actually going to take off my zipper foot so I have a little more control. And we're done working with that zipper for now. I change between my feet all the time. All the time. I probably use my right zipper foot more than my left zipper foot. But I do use them both, and I use them for more than zippers. So, okay, so sew across here with 3/8. Across the hardware, you may, or the connectors, you may need a hump jumper. I'm okay, but if you did. Okay, and then again, once we're at the machine, we're going to do our top stitching. So it's just this exterior part and the handles you have to worry about. So we want to flip it up, and we want our seam allowance to be pointing down. So you'll see how these two seam allowances here are going to match up kind of. So you want them to be pointing down towards the bottom, and that way our connectors will be sticking up, which is what we want. So see how it's going that way? And then we're going to top stitch through this middle panel to hold all of that in place. Okay, pull that seam nice and tight. And this is your catch, the bottom of this, we're getting another of the connectors, so it's getting another line of stability there. Just like so. So I'll show you that on the table view. So let me see, what did I miss? Missed it. Did you top stitch a piece just above the zipper? Yes, I did, Rhonda, right through the middle panel, right along here. So you had that seam pointing up, and then the top panel, when we did that one, we had that seam pointing down. So you'll see in this middle section, we have our two seams almost coming in snug with each other there. And the top stitching is right along this center accent piece here. All right, so that is our top panel done. So part of homework for this will be to attach this to foam. To put in rivets, I'll probably do 2 rivets in here through the foam, okay? I just find that the foam will help stabilize it more. You could also go ahead and sew them on, but I would sew them through the foam as well so they're not so floppy, but I'm just going to rivet them, okay? And I'm also going to install my nameplate here. Some people like to install the nameplate here, but this is about where it shows where I like to install my nameplate, right about there. So that'll be homework to put foam on that one. And your rivets, if you're not using rivets, you will have to sew these in place so they don't flop around everywhere. But that is our front main panel done. Any questions about that? She looks pretty nice. I think she looks good. All right, so I'll give everybody that's sewing along about 3 minutes or so, and then we're going to start on the back panel. How's everybody making out? I will write down the homework, so remember to put it in the Facebook group. So we will be putting foam once it's done on the front, back, sides, and bottom. I'm hoping we'll get the sides done today as well. So all of the main exterior pieces, and then the rivets, and the nameplate. It is, Anna, isn't it? I wish you could get more of this. I love it because this color matches your rose quartz leopard perfectly, but I was kind of sad that my client chose this one once I realized that, because I had the 2 rolls of this in my stash. But she chose it, so she gets to use it. But it matches her flower perfectly in this, so my client will love it. This is her 3rd Trailblazer I have made her. She is addicted to these, but she's a mom of 2 young kids and all, and she says it just... She took her last one, which was cork as well, to Hawaii just before Christmas. And her young 4-year-old son decided to use it as a vomit bag on the plane. She nearly died. There's no getting that smell out. So she's ordering this one to replace that one. Hoard it, Anna. You will want to use it with your Lux Leopard. Guaranteed. Okay. So I'm putting this aside. I'm going to get out the next pieces that we're going to need. I know, she wanted to cry, and she'd had that one for like 2 years, so. Okay, we're going to do more zippers, you guys. Are we ready? Yeah, she wanted to cry. I mean, cork, and she didn't use waterproof canvas, so I mean, she couldn't even just wash the lining. This one has waterproof canvas, so it's a little bit better, I guess. Okay, let me make sure I have this going the right way, which is my top. That's my top. All right. Okay, so now we are working on our exterior back panel. So what we want to do is I have the exterior... No, I don't want this piece yet. I want to take my lining piece of my exterior back panel. We're going to be doing zippers the way that I do not like to do zippers, but in this one I can't think of a different... I guess you could do an overlay on this if you wanted to, but I'm not prepared for that, so... All right, so we're going to find our top and bottom center of this. I'm going to figure out which is my good side and which is my bad side. It's my bad side. Not my bad side, my wrong side. So this is the lining piece of that. Oops, this might not be right. 1 second. I might have the wrong piece here. I need my zipper pocket lining piece. Lining panel. Okay, I just have to figure out which of these was my zipper pocket lining piece. I didn't mark it. No, that's not what I want. And I've lost that pattern piece. Dawn, can you look and tell me the measurements of the... Where is my cutting chart? Our back zipper pocket piece. Maybe I put it away. There it is. I found it. So I want to find my exterior zipper pocket, interior. This is where it sometimes helps to back a zipper pocket lining. So that's the 10.5 wide by 14-inch hide piece. So that's not that one. So that you want to pull out your 10.5 wide. Wide by 14 inches high. It's this one right here. So yes, you want to make sure you have the zipper pocket piece for the exterior. Again, it's the 10.5, back zipper pocket lining is 10.5 wide by 14 inches high. Okay. Now on the wrong side of that, I'm going to find my top center. And we are going to do some drawing. Thank you, Dawn, for that measurement. Where did I put my pattern now? There it is. Okay. I'm just trying to decide which way I want to do this. Give me one moment. Because they do it different than I usually do, but I don't want to go away from the pattern much either. So, okay, we're going to do it as per the pattern. We're taking our exterior piece of our back slip pocket panel, find your top and bottom centers, make sure if you have your directional that you have it going the right way. We're going to flip it to the wrong side and 1 3/4 of an inch down. We're going to draw a line. The top edge, draw a line. I'm going to make sure it's nice and straight so we have a straight zipper. I'm just going to draw a line all the way across. And then I'm going to draw a line a 1/2 inch down from that. Again, I'm just going all the way across. We will, okay. And then with my center mark here, because we want a 9-inch wide rectangle in that, I'm going to take from that center mark and line it up with my 4.5 inch mark on my ruler. And the bottom of that last line that we drew, I'm going to make a mark there and do the same on the other side, 4.5 inch mark, and line it up. So from there to there, that should be 9 inches if I did that right. And it is, so I can tell you that is 1.5 inches in from each side, if that helps. So you're going to draw short lines 1.5 inches in from each side, and a line 1 3/4 of an inch down. You just went through my thought process of how I like to do this. So, Then I'm also going to go ahead and I'm going to draw 3/8 of an inch line from each of the short sides. Again, not my favorite way of doing pockets, but it's how we're doing it here. And a middle line at 1/4 of an inch, and that's, we're just creating our zipper box that we're going to end up sewing. Okay, and then we can draw our V's out like so. Oh my goodness, Elba, you caught her. I'm glad you didn't get COVID during your cruise. So hopefully you're better for that. All right. So once we have that drawn on the wrong side of our exterior, we're going to flip our exterior right side up. We're going to take our lining piece right side down, so the right sides together, make sure. And we want to measure 3/4 of an inch down and centered. So I got my center mark there. I'm just going to line this up like so. I said this is not my most favorite way of doing this pattern because I can't clip into that. So I'm just going to make some marks here. So I'm going to end up having to hold this in place. How am I going to do this? I'm going to put a pin in here. It's because I can't put pins in. I'm going to hold that in place like so, and then I'm going to see where my clip is here and find my pins. Where's my tomato? You guys, where's my tomato? My desk is such a mess. There it is. And I'm just going to put my pins through here. Because I'm going to be cutting this away so it won't matter that there's holes, and I'm catching this lining half here. Again, if you're using all cottons, you could definitely just clip it in place. So this is what that looks like. So we have that in place. It looks good. Quarter of an inch down. So we are good to go. Right sides together. So now we're going to sew from this side, and we're going to sew all the way around that box. I could use magnets if I can't pin, but I don't have any. That would have been an awesome tool to have here. Again, this isn't my usual way of doing zipper pockets, but I want to kind of stick with the pattern as close as I can here. So all right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to sew all the way around there. Again, making sure that our lining and our exteriors are right sides together. Okay. Whoops, my camera shaking there. It'll stop in a moment. I just hit it. All right. So we're sewing around that box just like we do with non-overlay type pockets. This is why I do zipper overlays all the time, because I do not like doing pockets this way at all. I do not. And we did this just with our itty bitties last month too, so. So again, when I get to the corners, I like to do a little bit of a back stitch in each corner just to make sure my my stitches are really strong, because I find that when I go to turn those out, that's where it's always the messiest for me. Okay. Yeah, I really wish I had some of those sewing magnets right now. That would have been really good. Oh yes, washi. I had washi tape. I could have totally done that. Or painter's tape. Darn. That's smart. That would have been a very good idea. This worked too, but that would have been easier. My brain was not working fast enough to come up with that at that moment. There we go. Okay, I'm going to switch my camera back over. I'm going to get my iron heating up. Just go turn that iron on. There we go. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to do this just like we do with any zipper. So we're going to cut our line in between there. I like to go in with my rotary cutter. Don't go past that 3/8 line. Just go down the middle. And then I go back in with my scissors, if I can find them. Where did I put my scissors? Oh my gosh. I'm losing everything. Where are my good scissors? Oh, there they are. So does anybody see them on my table? And that's where I'm going to go and cut into those V's as close as I can to that stitching without cutting the stitching. Just like that. And then just like we do with any, we're going to go ahead, we're going to push the lining and the exterior right sides together through that opening. Oh, Coco's crying outside my door. So I will go and press this without steam, because I don't think you can steam cork, right? I don't know. I never steamed cork, but... could use some double-sided tape to hold these seams open nicely too. Actually, I think that's what I'm going to do. So you can go ahead and you can press it if you want. You just want to make sure that this all looks good. I'm probably going to have some of my lining peeking through because it gives a nice faux piping almost look around it, and then you don't have to struggle with it as much, I find. So rather than my iron, because I don't want to wreck my cork, I'm going to use some double-sided tape. Again, know your machine sensitivities before you do this, because this is going to be right in the top stitching line. I'm on an industrial, so it doesn't mind sewing through it. I've heard glue stick works really good for domestics too. I've never tried it myself, but I heard it works really good, because you're going to see me using a couple layers of double-sided tape here to hold these in place. I go through a lot of double-sided tape, I know. Keep the iron moving, no steam, not very long. I steam my vinyl from the wrong side, of course, and I keep my iron moving. But this works just as good. See? Look at that. That's beautiful. Do the same on the back side. So this would be actually really pretty. If you wanted to do an overlay on this side, you definitely could. Instead of doing it this way. Barbara swears by the glue sticks. Barbara, you're the one that told me about the glue sticks. Are they just like Elmer glue sticks, like school glue sticks? Oh, Coco says hi, everybody. Okay, and then I just got these side pieces to do. See? Doesn't that look good? Just short bursts of steam if they are, if your vinyl has creases done. Yeah, you can use a pressing cloth too. Sometimes I will put like some fabric over top of it as well, but yeah. All right, so that is what that looks like. We're going to set that aside for a moment, and we are going to prep our zipper. So I'm just going to measure my zipper to be the same width as my whole piece here. I'm going to go ahead and put my pull on. So just got to go over my zipper jig here. One moment. Oh, it didn't go on straight. Take 2. There we go. All right. So, which way do I have my zipper going? This way. To the left still. So what we're creating, I should have showed you guys, is we are working on this section here. So we're installing this zipper right here. Now, on this bag, I used a number 3 zipper, but I'm using a number 5 zipper. Stay. Now, the rest of this zipper pocket kind of goes together the way we do an overlay one. So on this back side here, I'm using double-sided tape to hold it in place. So I'm just going to put it, and you can too if you're on a domestic, just make sure you're staying over 1/8 of an inch away from where we will be top stitching around this rectangle, so the tape doesn't pose a problem for your machine if it does not like double-sided tape. But if you keep it 1/8 of an inch away from where your top stitching line is, you will be fine. Okay. So I want my zipper pull to be closing to the left, so I have it closing to the left. Lay it down. I'm going to take the tape, or the backing of the top tape only, and I'm going to center it oh my gosh, over top of that zipper tape. And why I like to use double-sided tape for this is I have so much control to try to get a nice and straight zipper, because I can stick it down, seeing that I have an even amount of zipper tape showing through. So take your time here to make sure you like your placement, just like we did in that front zipper flap. You want to have as straight a zipper as you possibly can. How does that look there? I think I can come down a little bit here. It's such a little thing, but it really does add, if you can get it nice and straight, it just adds that little bit more professionalism to the bag. So right there can come down a little bit, nice and even. I mean, it's not the end of the world if it's crooked, but, and honestly, we'd probably be the only ones that would notice it. Okay, so I think I'm nice and even on top. Once I have that figured out and placed where I want it to be, I can go ahead and do the same with the bottom part. Sorry if you guys are seeing the top of my head. I just want to make sure it's perfect placement. There we go. How's that look? Does that look nice and straight? I think so. Okay, so now we are going to top stitch all the way around that rectangle. Okay. All right. So I am going to pull my threads long because I'm going to tie my strands up in the underneath, so I don't have that buildup of back stitching here. You're more than welcome to back stitch. You don't have to do it like I do. This is just a little extra step that I like to do. So I'm holding my strands long. I'm going to go ahead and start top stitching without back stitching. If you aren't pulling your strands along to tie off, make sure you do back stitch. And pivot. Okay, and now that I'm just here with my needle down, I'm going to go ahead and tug on that bobbin thread to pull that top thread through to the back from that starting thread, and then carry on. other direction. I can close my zipper up. And then I'm going to make sure, if you're doing it like I am, that my needle lands in the exact same starting hole as my first stitch. Where are you? Oh, it's such a light color that I'm having a hard time seeing it. There it is. Right there. Okay, and I'm going to pull my strands long. I'm going to hold on to those two strands so I don't lose which one is my bobbin thread, because we've got all sorts of threads hanging out. I'm going to grab the bobbin thread, give it a tug to pull the top thread through. Double check that it is the right thread. Yep. And then I'm going to tie those off. And that just gives us a nice continuous line without a buildup of thread in back stitching. Okay, and then I'm also going to find, because I am using a bonded thread, I want to melt my knots a little bit. Where's my lighter? Lighter. Don't mind me as I'm looking for all my stuff. There's one. So I'm just going to burn that thread a little bit at that knot to create like a little rat's nest. Okay. And now while we're at the machine, what we're going to do next is we're going to take the bottom side here, and we're going to bring it up and match it up with the top of our lining side here. We will have some zipper tape overhanging. We'll trim that up momentarily, but we want to clip just those lining panels up like so, so we can close up this pocket. Oh, I hear sirens. Can you guys hear that? It's a fire truck. It's going to go down my street. I hear it coming. No, it's the street next to me. Okay, and same with the sides. Match up those sides. Oh, my double-sided tape is going to pose a problem right here. Pull that double-sided tape off just on that side piece that I did, because I'm going to have to be able to grab that little itty-bitty bit of lining there. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to start at the one folded bottom. I'm folding my exterior out of the way, and I'm going to go all the way around with a 3/8 of an inch-ish. This doesn't have to be exact. We just want to close up those 3 open sides of our lining. So across one side, like you see me doing here, you want to make sure you get it. This one, that double-sided tape's posing a problem. You can see this little V here. I always try from where we cut out the cork right there, right there, if you can see it. I like to try to run that over if I can. I don't know if it does anything, but in my head it will catch it better. I go back and forth over my teeth a couple times. Again, make sure you don't get your exterior. Then we're at the top of the zipper lining piece. We're going to pivot, pull this out of the way, and go across the top. Coco does not like the sound of the sirens. That's why she's barking. There's more sirens going. Oh dear, I hope everyone's okay. That sounds like an ambulance that time. It's coming down my street. That one went down my street. Pivot, and again, Make sure I'm catching the lining without catching my exterior. Go back and forth over my zipper once and all the way down. Okay. All right, how are we making out? 45 minutes left. I think we're going to make my goal of what we need to get done today. How's everybody making out? We're still doing okay? Let me clean up some of my mess here. It's starting to get a little overwhelming. My workspace gets so dirty, and I mean my floor especially. It's unbelievable. Oops, I put my scissors away. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to just go ahead and trim up this. Not too much, but we definitely got to trim away this excess zipper. You just want to make sure, oh, there's more sirens going. Holy moly. Just want to make sure everything is going to be outside of the seam allowances. There goes another ambulance down my street. What the heck? What's going on? Okay, make sure everything was caught. Make sure you have a functioning, sealed zipper pocket, and we do. Okay, so next, I guess I should look at my instructions. Where did they go? There they are. We can finish our back panel. So, oh, not quite there yet. Now, we want to take this panel and our lining piece. We want to put them right sides together. And we're only going to clip the top and the bottom. Make sure they're right sides. Matching up those centers. And here I can see that I cut my lining piece too big, so I'm just going to go ahead and just kind of trim it up. It's actually a fairly forgiving pattern for that kind of thing. My cork piece could be too small, I don't know. We just want them to be the same. Thank you, Dawn. Okay, so now we're just going to sew the top and the bottom with 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay. We're forming a tube here. One side. We're making great time, you guys. Okay, so now we have this tube, and what we want to do is we want to turn it right side out. Oh, and by the way, everybody, I got the go-ahead from my doctor that I can work 8 hours a day again sewing as long as I listen to my body. And if my arms start hurting, to stop. I'm good right now, though. But I did take a break this afternoon. I sewed for about 4 hours this afternoon and then class. Okay, so this is what we got. So you can either go ahead and press it at the iron. I'm going to finger press. And we're going to be top stitching these seams. Now this is where I need you to think about what you want to do with this. If you want a luggage sleeve, which means it'll fit right on through the bottom and you're not going to seal up this bottom, you will be top stitching the top and the bottom. I'm not doing a luggage sleeve. I'm doing my pocket like this where it's closed. So I'm not going to top stitch that bottom yet because that's how I'm going to top stitch that closed. But if you wanted to have it so it was a luggage sleeve, you will want that top stitched at this point. So we're all top stitching the top. If you're doing the luggage sleeve, you will top stitch the bottom. If you're making it a slip pocket like I am, you will not top stitch the bottom at this point. Does that make sense? Okay. We can also clip these sides together. So we're going to baste those together. Okay, I can see my lining. I was a little off here, so I'm just going to trim up that lining so it matches. Okay, so once again, if you are doing the luggage sleeve, you're going to baste up the side, top stitch the top, baste down this side, and top stitch the bottom. You'll go all the way around. If you're doing a slip pocket with me, you're going to only baste the sides and top stitch the top. We will end up doing the top stitching of this when we attach it to the main panel. Okay. Okay. Top stitching time. So again, I'm not top stitching the bottom because I'm doing mine as a sleeve, or not as a slip pocket, not as a luggage sleeve. Top stitch across the top. All right. Ooh, we got half hour left. We can do this. So this is what we have so far. And that's what she looks like. Okay, so now we want to take our exterior bottom piece, find our top and bottom centers. Okay. Now we want to place this, let me find it. Okay, 1 inch. So we're going to take our ruler, 1-inch roller, put it right along the top like this. I'm going to trim mine up here so I'm nice and even. There we go. And we're going to use that as our guide. Now I'm actually won't have to because it'll go from side to side. So we want to take the top part that we just top stitched and line it right up against that 1-inch mark. Like so. And then clip that in place. Oops. This bag has so many pockets. Gotta make sure I'm still straight. I am. Just like that. Pull this away. And we're just going to baste down the side. Now, if you are using this as a luggage sleeve, you're not going to do anything with this bottom piece because you can see that's where the sleeve is going to go through for your luggage, your handles. For the slip pocket like I'm doing, I'm going to baste here, top stitch this in place along this bottom seam and up here. And then once again, if you need the luggage sleeve, you're just basting the sides. Change my bowl's full. There we go. How's everybody doing? So you can see that is done. So I have a working slip pocket and a working zipper pocket. And if you don't have a slip pocket, you probably have a luggage sleeve. So this is going to be homework. Just like we did on the main panel, you are going to attach your middle panel and this top panel in the exact same fashion we did with the main piece. They go together the exact same way, making sure these seams are into the center and top stitched through there. And then you're going to, once this is all sewn, you're going to attach it to foam and you're going to put your rivets in here and on these handles here. Okay, so that'll be homework to finish the back panel. I gotta write that down. Back panel. Just because I know it's the exact same process and I really want to get to these side panels. So homework will be to do that, and then these two, once that is all done, should be the exact same size. That works? Everybody's good with that? Okay. And we have half hour to do the side panels. We're doing good. Homework will also be to put foam on your bottom piece as well. Okay? So now, where are my side pieces? I'm just digging out my side pieces now. Oops. So I'm going to do one side with you, and then the other side will be homework. All right. All right. Everyone's doing okay? No questions? Okay. So now what we want to do is we want to work on our side pockets. Now the direction, this is the bottom. The narrow end is the bottom. The wider end is the top of these pockets. So I have my exterior and I have my lining. Look, I'm doing your trick, guys. I'm going to put these right sides together and I'm just going to clip it across the top. And then we're going to sew across this top with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Oops, there we go. Come back. There we go. Okay, so just across that top with 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Just like that. And then what we want to do with these is we want to put these wrong sides together. So again, press your seams out and bring the two wrong sides together. Take it to the iron if you want to. Again, I'm just going to kind of finger press my seam. Use some clips to hold it in place. You can also clip down the other 3 raw edges because we are going to baste those right now too. Okay. A few clips just to hold the sides together. Get back here. And if there are questions, please do ask. Okay, so we're going to baste those 3 sides and top stitch across that top. On the side. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go up and I'm just going to trim up my excess lining that I had. You want these to be the same. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just kind of find my bottom center of this pocket and do a small snip. I'm going to take my side panel and I'm going to do snips at the top and bottom short centers. Okay, now this is where it's going to look really funky, okay? Now this piece here will be the exact same width as our bottom, see? But our sides aren't. So we're going to first go ahead and clip this bottom in place. I'm not going to take it to the machine. I'm just going to quickly go and do it, and I'm just going to baste just this bottom section. Okay, so go ahead and do that. All right. And now what we're trying to do, you'll see here on this one how it flares out, and that's why we have it big on the side. So we're still going to match up the raw edges with the raw edges, but this is going to kind of pop up like this. Okay, so go ahead and match up your raw edges with your raw edges. Start with one side. And on the other side, the same thing, but this is where you're going to have to kind of bring it in like so. See how that does that? Oops. I'm a little bit off kilter here. Try again. Helps if you start from the bottom and evenly distribute it upwards. Okay. You're familiar with this kind of stuff from garment sewing, Barbara? All right, so that's what that looks like. So we're just going to go ahead and we're going to baste those sides. So I'm not going to take you to the machine for that. I'm just going to quickly go and do that. Just basting to hold it in place. There we go. And that's really it. You will do the same with the other side panel. And then you will take both of the side panels and you will attach them to foam as well. I know it sounds like there's a lot of homework, but I promise you it's only like a half hour's worth of work to do. There's not too much. So again, you will finish your side panels. You're going to put foam on the side panel, on the base, on your back panel once you have the last two things on, and on the main panel. Once you have the foam on, then you will go ahead and you are going to install your rivets and your nameplate if you're doing that. Or if you're not doing rivets, make sure that you are sewing these in place through the foam so it's really good and solid. If you don't sew through the foam or rivet through the foam, you will find that your exterior will pull away from the foam, and you don't want that to happen. So you're going to do that. That'll have all of our exterior pieces done. I'm also going to leave you guys with doing your lining slip pockets the way you want to do them and your lining zipper pocket the way you want to do them, because we all do them different. I'm going to be doing them the way that I always do them in all my bags, which I've already shown in class. If you need a tutorial for that, you can definitely go ahead and check out my Bag Makers Basics playlist or some of the other classes where we have done them. So we'll get those two lining pockets done. What else? So next week we will be putting the backpack connectors on the bottom, the crossbody connectors on the side, but we want to put those on through the foam, so we are not going to connect them right now. And then we'll be putting them all together. Oh, make sure when you do your lining zipper pocket that you leave the lining of your zipper pocket open, because we will be turning through the bottom of the bag, and then we'll be closing up that, that opening through the zipper pocket. No, Don, that's not what we're going to do for that, no. I'm not taking 3/8 off of the top. We will be adjusting the foam. Once the foam is on, I'll show you what we will be doing. Okay. I mean, you could if you wanted to, but we're just going to do it all next class. Just put it on as per now, and we will get to the foam next week. Okay? Sound good? We don't want to make it more complicated than it needs to be. It'll be easy peasy. So the first half of the class, we will be sewing all of our, well, because we'll have all of the components for our linings and our exteriors done. So the first half of the class, we will be sewing the lining and the exteriors together, separate from one another. And then the last half of the class, we will be attaching the zipper and finishing the bag with attaching the lining and the exterior together, and then the top stitching. So we will be starting next week promptly at 4 o'clock again, just like we did today, even though we did manage to finish about 15 minutes early, which is good. I'm just happy we got through everything we did. This is a bag, we'll just say this bag would usually take me cut to finish 8 or 9 hours to do myself. So getting it into an 8-hour class, we're doing pretty good, but that's why there's a little bit more homework. We can't do every component together, so I'm glad that they go together similar, the components, so we can show you one, you can go home and do it, and then we can complete it together next week. Any questions about anything we did today? I know it was really, really fast, but I hope everybody was able to keep up that was sewing along. Again, feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. Oh, thank you, Rhonda. Yeah, and we will be getting this one all done next week. Yay! What are you guys thinking about the Trailblazer so far? Do you like it? I think it's a great one. I actually think I'm going to be finishing my homework, well, some of it tonight. No, I'm not. I'm going to do it later. I need to make supper. Any questions, comments, concerns? This class went a lot smoother than last class. Again, this pocket here is probably the most time consuming to do. The rest is pretty fast. Great work, everyone. Yes, really enjoyed class today. Makes sense to me. Perfect. Again, Barbara, feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. And those of you who are watching this in the replay, definitely feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions about anything we visited, no matter when you're watching this, whether it's next week or 2 years from now. Doesn't matter. Reach out to me. I'm here to help. All right, everybody. I hear Riley was a sweetheart and he put the pork loin in the oven. I can smell it. So I guess I will go and I will make the sides, some salad and some potatoes, I think. Good night, everybody. Thank you again. And I will see most of you on Thursday, and the rest I will see next week. Have a great weekend, everybody. Bye.